इनको हम लोग कैंसिल कर लेगा।
Good morning, everyone. Today is December full moon day. Actual full moon day is today, December 18, the last full moon day of the year. This is the winter time, so things are slightly complicated due to the weather, but we are trying to continue our poem program today. Although today is a very busy day at the temple, now we will be having two monks coming from San Jose for lunch because we have a funeral service that is going to be in this afternoon. We have to actually participate in the funeral service at the funeral hall. So we have to discontinue the program, regular program after Buddha Puja and 11. But we are trying to be here by 4:30. But depending on the schedule, how the schedule goes in the funeral hall, we may not be able to be here on time, but not sure. In that case, if we do not begin the program at 4:30 p.m., please observe 5 precepts by yourself and release the 8 precepts or 10 precepts that you observed already. And if we can, we try to join you at 4:30 and continue with the blessing ceremony as planned. Now it's time for Dhamma talk. We listen to a little bit of Dhamma to remind ourselves that we are so fortunate to be able to hear the teachings of the Buddha, and that we need to get the best out of the chance. The word is chance because it is a chance that we are born as human beings during the Dhamma is still available in the world. So that is why listening to Dhamma is something that is very beneficial for us, not only for this life, but for many lives in the future, and to reduce the amount of birth and rebirth in samsara and finally attain Nibbana. That is the goal of listening and learning the Dhamma. With these thoughts in our mind, we join the Dhamma talk this morning. No? Samanta Chakravalesu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhammang Nirajase Sunantu Saggamokkadang Dhamma Savana Kalu Ayam Bhadanta Dhamma Savana Kalu Ayam Bhadanta Dhamma Savana Kalu Ayam Bhadanta Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Appiccasayang dhammo nayang dhammo mahiccase. Santutthassayang dhammo nayang dhammo asantutthasse. Pavivittasayang dhammo nayang dhammo ganasangha ramikasramakase. Aradha viryasayang dhammo nayang dhammo kusitase. Uppattita satisayang dhammo nayang dhammo mutthasatis. Samahitasayang dhammo nayang dhammo asamahitas. Panyavantasayang dhammo nayang dhammo duppanyassa. Nippapancara ramasayang dhammo nippapancharatino nayang dhammo papancharamassa papancharatino ti. That section of the teachings of the Buddha is coming. You can see it in the Anguttara Nikaya, which is one of the 5 Nikayas. The contents that contains all the teachings of the Buddha. Anguttara Nikaya, Anga means number, Uttara means according to. Anguttara Nikaya means collection of Dhamma based on the numbers. For example, Anguttara Nikaya begin with Eka Vagga. Eka Vagga means section of 1. So Buddha, when he talk about monks, there is only one person who is born in the universe. For example, there is one thing that I see the person's mind is obsessed with, something like that. Then he explains what is that one thing, and then the twos, then the fours, 4 things, then 5 things. This one is called Atta Maha Purusha Vitakka, things to contemplate, to be contemplated by a great person. This is all about the virtue or the value of the Dhamma and who is the worthy person to learn and listen to the teachings of the Buddha. That is, this sutta is explaining 8 things who are great beings, who are capable of, who are worthy of listening to the Dhamma, who is capable of receiving the benefit of the teachings of the Buddha. That is the sutta in explaining 8 people, 8 type of people who is worthy of listening and learning and getting the benefit of the teachings of the Buddha. And so this is a wonderful teaching here that also explain the value of the Buddha's teaching in another different way. For example, out of these 8 conditions, one is that Buddha says, this teaching, meaning my teaching, Buddha's teaching, this teaching is only for the wise, not for the unwise. In other words, you have to have the qualification to learn and practice the Dhamma. What is that qualification? You have to have some wisdom, some intellectual ability, if you want to call it. But more with that intellectual ability, if you start learning the teachings of the Buddha, then you can increase your wisdom. If we don't have the wisdom to begin with, you cannot really learn the teachings of the Buddha and get the benefit from that. So therefore, to cultivate wisdom, you have to have a little bit of wisdom, at least at the beginning. Something like that is a teaching in this sutta, which is very important for us. And we talk about those things because Buddha's teaching is so unique. It's very simple. It is something that is simple common sense, meaning that anyone can see for themselves if they put some effort to see it. Dhamma is something that cannot be understood without putting any effort. So if you put the effort and start looking at this thing that is right in front of you, then you begin to see. But otherwise, you will not be able to see it, even though it is so simple. It is right next to you. Until you look at it, you don't see it. Appichasayang dhammo nayang dhammo mahichasa. When you learn the teachings of the Buddha, if you are constantly trying to accumulate this knowledge and this thing and that thing, you are constantly wishing to accumulate more and more, then Buddha's teaching is not for that person. Because if you seek little, if you want little, then you have time and energy to focus on learning the Dhamma instead of spreading your energy into look for, find other things. So as you know, we normally understand if you become a monk, it is much easier for you to learn and understand the Dhamma, monk or nun. That's the common understanding, which is not difficult to understand, because becoming a monk is minimizing your wants and your possessions. If you have too many things, if you want too many things, if you are seeking too many things, that person has little time and energy to focus on the Dhamma, which is very subtle. Dhamma is subtle. When it is subtle, it is not easy to see, but you have to put the effort to see it. So, appichasayang dhammo nayang dhammo duppanyasa. Buddha's teaching is for the person who is seeking less, but not for the person who is seeking too many things. And even the knowledge. According to the Singsapa example, Singsapa forest example, you all know that Buddha took a few leaves of a Singsapa tree in a Singsapa forest. Singsapa tree is a tree that has thousands and thousands of small leaves. And now Buddha is in the middle of a forest of these trees. There are so many trees, meaning so many leaves. And Buddha picked only few leaves into his hand and asked the monks, "What do you think, monks? The number of leaves in my hand compared to the number of leaves in the forest?" So the monks replied, "Venerable Sir, there's so little, few leaves in your hand compared to the number of leaves in this huge Sinsapa forest." Then the Buddha said, "Venerable monks, the amount of Dhamma I teach you is very little compared to the knowledge available in the world. There's so much knowledge available in the world, and you need thousands and thousands of lifetimes to look at to learn the knowledge available in the world. But Dhamma is something that you can understand in this very life, because Buddha is teaching very little. Why it is little? Out of all the knowledge that is available in the universe, Buddha is teaching only the most essential knowledge for any human being. Human beings are very curious, and we have so many different subjects dedicated to learn about the world. Chemistry and physics and history and all kinds of subjects that are taught in universities and schools are to find out some important knowledge about the universe that we are in. But that knowledge is never going to end the search, because once you start looking for one thing, learning one subject, it is connected to many other subjects. When you learn those many other subjects, those subjects are connected to many other different subjects, many other different things, and it goes on and on and on. And what is the benefit out of learning so many things in the world? No benefit. Your curiosity may be fulfilled, and you may be happy that, oh, I found something new, but that does not make any difference in your life. Your quality of life is still the same no matter how much you learn, unless you learn the Dhamma. Dhamma is the little leaves in the hand. If you have this knowledge, it changes your life to the best, and make your life easier and better and happier and more joyful and more peaceful. But learning the knowledge available in the world may fulfill your curiosity at that time, but that does not make any permanent improvement in your life. You will be still, no matter how much knowledge you have, you will be still having conflict with your family and friends and other people. You will still get affected by what is happening around the world, and you could get devastated by all these things happen around the world, no matter how much knowledgeable you are. Therefore, if you keep seeking knowledge here and knowledge there without paying attention to the most valuable knowledge that everyone needs as a being, as a person, you are wasting your time. So Buddha would say, Appichasayang Dhammo, Nayang Dhammo Mahechas. If you keep seeking so many things and you miss out the most valuable things, that is the main valuable information that is beneficial to your own life. And Buddha taught 45 years, and during that 45 years, he taught everything that is necessary to make your life complete. If you don't have the knowledge of Dhamma, your life is continuously miserable. More you learn the Dhamma, Dhamma means things related to life, knowledge related to the life. Body is part of life, mind is part of life, sensory organs are part of life, and connection of sensory organs and external world, outside world, is part of life. And death is part of life. What happened to you after death is part of your life, and all the related knowledge regarding life is the one that is called Dhamma. The Buddha teaches only about the life. Lot of people say that Buddhism is all about suffering. Therefore, I'm not interested in Buddhism. All pessimistic and negative, all about suffering. Even the Buddhists say that. But that is unfortunate because they only pay attention to a very small part or segment of Buddha's teaching. Even the Western people who study Dhamma have the tendency to say Buddhism is all pessimistic, negative, all about suffering. Then a Buddhist who listen to this might even think, yeah, Buddhism talk a lot about suffering. So these people are true. Actually not true. Buddhism is all about life. Suffering is one part of life. Buddha not only talk about suffering, Buddha talk about the cause of dukkha. Then Buddha talk about the cessation of dukkha. What is it like when the dukkha is not there? How happy the life could be? That's the third part. And Buddha also talk about how to make yourself a happy person. What makes you a completely happy, completely fulfilled person, joyful. So talking about dukkha or suffering is only 1/4 of the Buddha's teaching. All the other, the 75% of the teaching is about happiness of life, how to get rid of the cause of unhappiness. It's also like saying, I don't want to learn medicine, I don't want to hear about medicine, because medicine always talk about illness. No, medicine is not only talk about illness. Medicine also talk about cure and how to cure, how to prepare all these cures and how to make you healthy and happy. So Buddhism is very similar to the medicine. Medicine is for the body. Buddha's teaching is for the mind. Healing the body and healing the mind. Medicine heals the body. Dhamma heals the mind. So they are very parallel. Buddhism and medicine can be parallel. That is why Buddha is called Bhaisajya Guru, ultimate medicine master. Buddha is called Bhaisajya Guru, ultimate medicine master. So how the ultimate healer is called Buddhism. Bhaisajya means medicine. Guru means master. So then, therefore, it is very important to remember. And when you hear from someone that Buddhism is all about suffering, that is not true. Buddhism is teaching about how to eliminate suffering and how to be totally happy and joyful. And all these are part of the Buddha's teaching, which is the most essential knowledge, or most beneficial, most helpful knowledge for any person to have, because all of us, not only human beings, but all beings, cats and dogs and all other animals and every being who is conscious, even a little ant, they are constantly seeking happiness. And the Buddha's teaching is all about how to be happy. When he talks about how to be happy, then he has to talk about what makes you unhappy. Then he has to talk about unhappiness of life. So therefore, Buddhism is a complete knowledge that benefit all beings regardless who they are. All other knowledge only help to satisfy your curiosity, and that's it. But you are still continue to be a being or person of suffering, no matter how much knowledge that you accumulate, which is not the knowledge of Dhamma. So if you accumulate the knowledge of Dhamma, if you apply the Dhamma into your life that you gather as a knowledge, then only you can be benefited by the teachings, by the Dhamma. So in this case, Dhamma is clearly taught by the Buddha, because Buddha completely studied life. Every aspect of life, birth, existence, death, after death, what happened after death, why you are wealthier, why you are poor, why you have no enough food, why the other person has too much food. All these things related to life is discussed, taught in the Dhamma by the Buddha. And therefore, that is why apicchasayang, if you are constantly seeking so many things, you are wasting your time and energy to find those things and gather those things, accumulate those things, including the knowledge of the universe. That is okay to know many things about the world around us, but the most essential knowledge is the Dhamma, how your mind connect to the world through your sensory organs, and how the certain activities of the mind make you go through frustration, fear, and suffering, and all the other problems of life. And then the teachings include what if you learn and practice the Dhamma, how your life could be so wonderful. Santustasayang Dhammo Nayang Dhammo Duppanya Asantustassa. If you are depressed and unhappy, no matter how much you listen to the Dhamma, you don't gain anything, because your mind is not ready to absorb the value of the knowledge that you are learning from the Dhamma. If you learn Buddha's teaching, you have to have a very relaxed and joyful mind, where your mind is capable of absorbing the knowledge, valuable knowledge that you accumulate through the Dhamma. When you listen to Dhamma, there are so many, every point in Dhamma that Buddha taught in the 45 years is so beneficial to live a complete and completely happy life, and to pick up those knowledge from listening to the teachings of the Buddha, the reading the teachings of the Buddha, and contemplating on the teachings of the Buddha, which is the Dhamma, which is about our lives. Dhamma is all about our lives. So if you are unhappy and frustrated and angry and all that, at a time like that, if the person is normally very unhappy person, you are not qualified, you are not prepared to gain the benefit from the teachings of the Buddha. That is what we call Santuttassayang Dhammo Nayang Dhammo Asantuttassa. Santutti Paraman Dhanang. Santutti means happiness, is the ultimate wealth. If you have some happiness, some joy, then only you can listen to the Buddha and learn from the Buddha. That increase your happiness, that increase your joy. So you start with little happiness and you pay attention to the teachings of the Buddha, and you see how correct and how accurate the teachings of the Buddha regarding your life. The more you see that, happier you become, because Dhamma is teaching you how to be happy. Remember, a lot of people complain about suffering. Buddha's teaching is suffering? No. How to be happy. So you start with happiness and you increase more happiness by learning the Dhamma. Start to learn the Dhamma with happiness and end up with increasing the happiness to the fullest. Santutti, accumulate the ultimate joy, ultimate wealth. Santutti Paramandana. Pavivittassayang Dhammo Nayang Dhammo Ganasanganikaramas. Pavivitta means who is having time for oneself. Who is having time for oneself? Pavivitta. Not engaged in too many things and not too busy, but very relaxed and very peaceful. That is Pavivitta. Viveka means Viveka means relaxation. Taking a break after a long lecture is called Viveka. After working so many months, and if you take a break, that is called Viveka. You are not engaged in too many things. But if you have enough free time, that is the free time that you use to learn Dhamma. But you have to have a lot of free times, because Dhamma is so valuable and so precious. To gain it, achieve it fully, you have to be not too busy. Gana Sanganikaramas. Gana means group. Sanganika means gathering, getting together. Gana Sanganika Ramas, the one who enjoy having parties, having groups, having many concerts, and when you see a game or something, you see how many people are there gathered, and you're so busy cheering and so busy eating and drinking during watching the game. That's Ganasanga Nikarama. You enjoy. You don't want to miss the basketball game. You don't want to miss the football game. You don't want to miss the party that is Friday night, and some things like that. People like that cannot understand what life is all about. That means Dhamma. Because their mind is so out there, not grounded. If your mind is grounded and settled and peaceful, then only you can hear the Dhamma taught by a Buddha and get something so valuable out of it. So if you are busy with partying, no, Dhamma is not for you. Aradha viryasayang Dhammo nayang Dhammo kusita. Kusitas. Kusita means who is lazy. A person who is lazy cannot be a person who has the knowledge and wisdom of Dhamma. Because you have to do your own research about life, to know about life. Buddha had done so much research about life, and he gained all the valuable tools to look at life. Dibba Chakku, Dibba Sota, Paratvitta Vijanana, Aso Akkaya, all these knowledges achieved by the Buddha by working so hard. Because everybody is lazy, going down the stream, following the same rat race that everybody, you see the rat race, like in the 60s. Huh? Rat race means everybody just run, follow the other. Don't know why you are running, We are trying to accumulate wealth, but in the end, what? Nothing. You have to lose everything, leave everything. But you keep accumulating, just like everybody else. If you are doing the same things that everybody else is doing, it is like swimming with the current. The river is going downward and you swim with the stream that goes down, which is very easy. Even you don't swim, you go down in the river. That's what we are. Without putting any effort, we just relax. In the water, we go down. But the follower of the teachings of the Buddha is called person who swim against the current. Only Dhamma can be understood by doing things that are much harder, which is focusing the mind is harder, which is cutting down the self-centered thinking and self-centered behavior. It's not easy, right? Swimming against the current by practicing Dhamma. So you have to have very strong, highly developed energy, level of energy to learn and understand and benefited by the teachings of the Buddha. Otherwise, you become just another person. You are not anything, anyone special. But all Buddhists are supposed to be special because of their development of understanding of life, development of the skills of handling the life effectively and efficiently. Those things can be gained by working hard and practicing seriously. So aradha virya means your effort should be generated constantly. Kusita means being lazy and lethargic. You cannot be a Buddhist because you just become another being going with the current. Okay. Then upattita satissatsayang dhammo. Upattita sati, upattita means generated, sati means mindfulness. Nayang dhammo mutta satissa. If your mindfulness is not sharp, mutta means not sharp. The knife is not sharp, it's called mutta. Mutta satissa. But upattita satissa means mindfulness is so active. Mindfulness is, I told you, like the virus scan in your computer. When your computer is on and connected to the internet, so many things could come into your computer that are so harmful to your computer and other files, viruses and malwares and all kinds of those things can be coming in from outside, but your virus scan is active and constantly watching those negative files and negative viruses that are coming in and catching it quickly. If your virus scan is so relaxed, all the viruses can come and attack your computer easily. But if your virus scan is so sharp and constantly watching and monitoring all the things, negative things that coming into your computer is observed and uh, catch is a good word, and process them quickly, carry them and put them in the garbage, or put them in some place where those viruses cannot affect the computer. That's the virus scan. Sati is the virus scan of the mind of the person. Through our senses, so many negative information, data is coming in every moment. When you are not alert, if you are alert and constantly monitoring focusedly all the negatives that is coming into your mind, that is called sati. Uppattita sati means well developed, well active mindfulness. Mindfulness is your mind's ability to monitor what is coming into your mind and what is going out of your mind. That is the mindfulness process of our life. Anyone who has operating mind, mindfulness is also part of it. But this mindfulness is not active and very well developed. It is useless. So you have a virus scan. That virus scan is not a very highly evolved, sophisticated virus scan. All the viruses can come and attack your computer. Same thing about the mind. Mind has a very simple mindfulness that is not very evolved, sophisticated. Then it is sitting there doing nothing. Like you have a dog, but that dog is not a watchdog. So robbers can come into your house anytime without born by your dog, without blocked by your dog. The mindfulness is also like that. If it is not highly active, that mindfulness is useless. But we have mindfulness a little bit, but not sharp enough, not active enough. So what the Buddha is telling is that our mindfulness should be uppattita, very active, very sophisticated, highly developed. All the subtle things, little things that affect your system, affect your body and mind, should be observed and grasped and catch and dump into the garbage. So Buddha discovered about mindfulness for the first time, and he taught about mindfulness. He taught how to cultivate your mindfulness, how to make it efficient, and how to get the best out of your mind's ability to protect your mind. That is mindfulness. Uppattita satissa ayam dhammo nayang dhammo mutta satissa. Samahitasayang dhammo nayang dhammo asamahitas. Samahita means calm and peaceful. Calm and peaceful. Asamahita means constantly disturbed, agitated. So, Buddha's teaching is not for the person who is constantly agitated with your family members, with what is going on with the government, with what is going on with your family or your work. If you are constantly upset about what is happening and disturbed, Dhamma is not for you. you cannot understand Dhamma, because Dhamma is so subtle. So subtleties can be understood only when the mind is calm and peaceful. Samahitasayang Dhammo, Nayang Dhammo, Asamahitasa. Not for this teaching is not for the person whose mind is constantly disturbed and upset and agitated and aroused. That's something very important to remember. And our mind get constantly disturbed by reading news, watching television, and going out just for fun, and your mind constantly gets disturbed by this and that. So therefore, you don't have time to look at your own life and see how life is helping you or not helping you. How life is not harming you, or how life is protecting yourself, your own life. So the samahita means calmness of the mind, which is very important if you are learning the Dhamma, if you are practicing the Dhamma. Now this is one of the most important things that I mentioned earlier. Panyavantasayang Dhammo, Nayang Dhammo, Duppanyasa. Du means not sophisticated, not cultivated. Panya means wisdom. Emotional maturity is called panya. Emotional maturity is so poor, then Dhamma is not for you. If you are not smart, Dhamma is not for you. Buddha's teaching is not for you. You can hear the knowledge which is not Dhamma and learn those things, not the real Dhamma. Real Dhamma means real facts of life, actual way how life operates. If you don't have your matured wisdom, matured emotional state, you cannot learn the Dhamma. Buddha is saying, my teaching is not for the foolish, you can call it foolish, people who are not sharp, who are not full of insight, full of wisdom. No, Dhamma is not for you. But if you have a little wisdom, that helps you to get started. With that little wisdom, you get started and you gain more and more wisdom by learning the Dhamma. That is the way it works. You have to have a little knowledge, little wisdom. If you're totally dumb, don't even try to teach Buddhism, Dhamma to those people. There are a lot of people who are very, very dumb in the world, not too smart. Yes. That means they're hopeless. But one day, after hanging out with smart people, these dumb people begin to learn few things here and there. That's how it works. Huh? All beings one day become enlightened. One day understand the Dhamma. Not necessarily the teachings of the Buddha. Dhamma is the teachings of the Buddha. but you understand life one day, because although you were a very foolish, unsharp person, by watching the wise people, by hanging around the wise people, that's called Kalyana Mitras. Huh? Kalyana Mitras means good people to associate. If you find good people to hang out with, gradually your wisdom begin to grow. Why? Because you are watching what these wise people, what these smart people are doing, and then as monkeys, all of us follow the same thing that other people are doing. Meaning, you learn from people around you all the time. If you are lucky to have smart people around you, wise people around you, Kalyana Mitras around you, then you unconsciously learn something valuable. You increase your wisdom little by little, and then you are ready to listen to the teachings of the Buddha. So this is very important point. Even you are very, very dumb, you are very lucky, you can be very lucky to be around some smart people. But you became lucky, and then you learn a little bit more about the value of being around the smart people. Then you intentionally put yourself in the situation where your friends are smart people, wise people. That's called Kalyana Mitra, training to be a Kalyana Mitra. So if you are lucky to be born to a great parent, smart parent, you constantly watch them, and by age 10, 11, you are already a wise person, because you learn so many things just by watching your father and mother who are wise. But some people, if you are so unfortunate, dumb in the sense that not sharp, your wisdom is not sharp, then even you are born to a great parents, you may not learn anything wonderful from them, because you are not smart enough to do that. But if you had a little wisdom when you were born to a great father and mother, you learn how to behave properly, what to say, what is not to say, all these little things you learn from the beginning, and then gradually by age 10, 15, 12, you are almost ready to hear the teachings of the Buddha, which is the Dhamma, which is the wisdom. Wisdom can be gained by associating the right people, and even further associating the right people, you gain more knowledge of Dhamma. So Panyavantasayang Dhammo Nayang Dhammo Dupanyasa. Even the Buddha's time, there were a lot of people who did not pay attention to the teachings of the Buddha, because they didn't have enough wisdom to recognize what is valuable and what is not valuable. So there were 62 different religions in India at the time, and they all had followers. And Buddha was here in the same time. He had also some followers, but why other people had followers? Because they were satisfied with what they get from their teachings at the time, while the ultimate wisdom, knowledge, beneficial knowledge was easily available. At the same time, they didn't have enough sharpness to recognize the difference between the Dhamma and immediately benefiting Dhamma and some other knowledge of something. So that is why even today, when the Dhamma is available, you listen to a Dhamma, and some people immediately think, who has never heard the Dhamma talk, but you immediately hear, this makes some sense. I want to explore a little bit more of the teachings of the Buddha, means Dhamma. And then they start finding a book and read a little more, and then explore a little bit more, and then go to a temple and discuss with monks and educated people, educated in Dhamma people, and then you do that. Okay. Then the last one is, we are running out of time. Nippapancha ramasayang Dhammo. Papancha ratino. Nippapancha ratino. Papancha means constantly daydreaming. One thing to the other. We constantly daydream. That's what we do always. Huh? All of us sit down and relax, go to sleep, and first, until you fall asleep, you are daydreaming. Or you are sitting there reading a book, and you find the book, you start reading, and then you immediately fall into daydreaming. First 2 lines, 3 lines of the article you start reading, and you fall into daydreaming. Papancha means constant daydreaming. That means not being alert, not knowing what is really going on in our self and around us. So papancha is a very important concept in Buddhism. We enjoy daydream. We enjoy rehearse things in our mind. You see a computer in front of you, and immediately you think of your brother who need a computer somewhere, someplace, or you start thinking about a quarrel that you had because you were not being able to share your computer with your brother or sister when you were little, and things like that. You constantly go on and on. The mind runs to one thing to the other, from that thing to another. That is papancha. That's called papancha. But we enjoy doing it. We seek pleasure in it. Nayang Dhammo Papancharamasa Papancharatino. Buddha's teaching is not for the people who are engaging in constant daydreaming. This is the easiest way to understand the word papancha. Papancha is a very important concept in Buddhism that we all go through. But simple way to see it is to constant daydreaming is an easier way to understand the word papancha. Anyway, today we learn about Atta Mahapurisa Vitakka. Mahapurisa means great beings. If you are not a great person, you are not even qualified to learn the teachings of the Buddha. That's what it basically means. Huh? Atta Mahapurisa Vitakka. But you can always qualify yourself to be a great being by improving the little of all 8 of these things that we mentioned. Santutti, for example, if you are not happy, but use your little happiness, whatever the little happiness that you have, to make yourself a very happy person. Use your little wisdom, very little wisdom, to make you the wisest person on earth. Become enlightened means, that means becoming enlightened. Even the person who has very little wisdom can cultivate that wisdom by using the Dhamma to the highest level. So that is Atta Maha Purisa Vitaka from Anguttara Nikaya. So you should be proud of yourself if you have some of these 8 qualities. That means you are lucky to learn more and practice more and benefit more from the teaching and of the teaching and about the teachings of the Buddha. Okay, that's a Dhamma talk today. And Atta Maha Purusha Vitaka, try to remember or read more. You can Google it and find out Atta Maha Purusha Vitaka. Atta means 8. No? We talked about 8 things, and today is Durta Full Moon Day. We are fortunate to hear the Dhamma for some extent that help us to generate more interest in learning more Dhamma. That is what is important. Learning more Dhamma means learning more about our lives, learning more about how our life works, and that is what the Dhamma. And only few of you are so able to learn something that is very important to us, and by doing so we generated so much joy. Let us share this joy with all our deceased family members and relatives and friends who were with us one time and who were helping us one time but no longer with you. This is our opportunity to do them a favor and return their favor. Whatever the things that they did for us, we appreciate their contribution to improve our lives, and now we are helping them to improve their life by sharing the joy that we generated by listening to this Dhamma talk. Idamme ñātīnaṁ hotu sukita hontu ñātayo. Idamme ñātīnaṁ hotu sukita hontu ñātayo. Idamme ñātīnaṁ hotu sukita hontu ñātayo. Let us share this joy, which is called merit, which is called positive energy, with all the celestial beings who are around us and who are protecting us. May all those devas also be able to receive the merit that we are sharing with them at this moment. By receiving, may they be able to increase their own divine lives, and in return, may they bring additional protection to all of us. With these thoughts in our mind, let us recite the Gatha Akasattach. Akasattach Bhummatta Devanaga Mahiddhika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakhantu Loka Sasanang. Akasattach Bhummatta Devanaga Mahiddhika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakhantu Desanang. Akasattha ca bhummatta devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu no sada. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Now we will have the short meditation practice until 11:15, and Bante Sumana will come and guide you with meditation in 1 minute, and please stay tuned. And we will have the offerings to the Buddha at 11:15, and today Mahen will offer the Buddha Puja and lunch for the Sangha. It is Mahen's birthday, and they will be offering the Buddha Puja on behalf of all of you. Thank you.
නවත්තලා දාන්න. Now we are going to start meditation. Before that, I want to disconnect this live telecast and I restart again. Then you can go to the YouTube again and go to the new video. Thank you.